Chosen one, what you are about to receive is not an ordinary message. It is not a collection of encouraging words assembled to make you feel temporarily better about a difficult season. What is being spoken over your life right now carries the weight of a specific and timely declaration from heaven, a declaration that your spirit has been waiting to hear, perhaps for longer than you have been able to fully articulate even to yourself. The final key has turned. That door that has stood before you, the one you have prayed over, fasted over, wept before, and sometimes stared at in exhausted silence, wondering if it would ever move. That door has received the final key, and a door that has received its final key does not remain closed. It cannot remain closed, because the turning of that key was not accomplished by human effort or natural ability. It was accomplished by the hand of God. And when God turns the final key in a door over a chosen life, nothing in heaven, on earth, or beneath the earth has the authority to keep that door sealed. Stay with this message, because what is unfolding right now in the spirit over your life is more significant than anything you have faced in the seasons behind you. Understanding the door. Before we go further, chosen one, it is important that you understand what this door represents, because this is not just any door. This is not a door that appeared recently or one that was constructed by circumstance alone. This door has been part of your story for a very long time. It was placed in your path as part of a divine design that your natural mind could not have fully comprehended when the journey first began. This door represents the specific promise that God placed over your life before you were born. It is the entrance into the fullness of what you were created to be, to do, and to carry in this world. Behind that door is not just a single blessing or a single answer to a single prayer. Behind that door is an entire dimension of your life that has been prepared and waiting for the moment when you are fully ready to step through it. And that moment is now. The door has been standing in your path through every season you have walked, through the seasons of confusion when you could not see clearly where you were going, through the seasons of loss when you wondered whether the promise had died along with the things you were grieving, through the seasons of delay when the door seemed to stand unmoved no matter how persistently you prayed and believed and held on, through the seasons of testing when everything inside you was being examined, refined, and strengthened for the weight of what awaited you on the other side. Through all of it, the door stood, and through all of it, God was working. Key after key was being turned in that door. Each season of your life, each trial you walked through, each act of faith you demonstrated, each tear you offered in prayer, each morning you chose to get up and keep believing, was turning another key in that door, moving it closer and closer to the moment of full opening. And now, chosen one, the final key has turned. What the final key was, every door has a final key. It is the key that completes the process. The one that, when turned, releases the mechanism that has been holding everything in place and allows the door to swing open fully and completely. And in the spiritual journey of every chosen life, the final key is always the most significant one. You may be wondering what the final key was in your situation. What specific moment or decision or act of faith represented the turning of that last key in the door standing before you. The final key was the moment you chose to trust when trusting made no logical sense. It was the moment you released control over a situation that your hands had been gripping tightly for far too long. It was the moment you forgave when bitterness had a perfectly reasonable argument for why unforgiveness was justified. It was the moment you got up one more time after a fall that would have convinced most people to stay down. It was the moment you declared the goodness of God out loud in the middle of a season that gave you very little visible evidence to support that declaration. It was the moment your faith stopped being theoretical and became real, tested, proven, the kind of faith that is not moved by what the eyes see, because it is anchored in something deeper and more certain than visible evidence. That moment was the final key, and when it turned, heaven responded with a movement that is still unfolding around you right now, an unlocking that began in the spirit and is now working its way into every visible area of your life that is needed to change. The anatomy of an opening door, chosen one. It is important that you understand how a divinely opened door manifests in a person's life, because many people miss the opening of their door because they were expecting it to look different than it actually does. They were waiting for a dramatic and sudden transformation that announces itself with unmistakable clarity. And while some breakthroughs do arrive that way, the opening of a divinely prepared door often begins in ways that are quiet, gradual, and easy to overlook if your heart is not paying attention. The first sign that your door is opening is a shift in atmosphere. You'll notice that the heaviness that has surrounded certain situations in your life begins to lift. Not because the situations have visibly changed yet, but because something in the spirit over those situations has shifted. A lightness will begin to replace the weight. A quiet hope will begin to replace the anxiety. A sense that something is different, even when everything around you looks the same, will settle into your spirit and refuse to leave. The second sign is a shift in access. People who were previously unavailable or unresponsive will begin to become reachable. Conversations that were previously impossible will begin to become possible. Relationships that felt permanently strained will begin to soften and move in new directions. This shift in access is heaven repositioning the human elements of your miracle so that the right connections are made at exactly the right time. The third sign is a shift in clarity. The confusion that clouded your thinking during the long season of waiting will begin to clear. Direction that was previously obscured will begin to become visible. You will start receiving ideas, impressions, and insights with a freshness and precision that tells you they are not coming from your own natural reasoning alone. This clarity is heaven orienting your mind and spirit toward the steps that the open door is now inviting you to take. The fourth sign is a shift in peace. A supernatural peace will begin settling over areas of your life that were previously dominated by worry and uncertainty. This peace will sometimes arrive in the middle of circumstances that have not yet visibly improved, which is precisely what makes it supernatural. It is not the peace that comes from having all the answers. It is the peace that comes from knowing that the one who holds all the answers is personally guiding your steps through the open door. Pay close attention to these signs. In the coming days, they are not coincidences. They are confirmations. What stood behind the closed door all this time, chosen one? Let us talk about what has been waiting for you on the other side of that door. Because understanding the fullness of what God has prepared will strengthen your faith as you step through the opening that is now before you. Behind that door is a restoration that goes deeper than the surface level of your circumstances. Yes, the practical areas of your life that have needed change will begin shifting. The financial pressure that has been a source of stress will begin to lift as new provision flows into your life from directions you did not expect. The health situation that has been a source of worry will begin responding to the healing that heaven has already released over your body. The relational wounds that have carried pain for longer than they should have will begin receiving the grace and restoration that God prepared for them long before you fully understood how much you needed it. But beyond the practical, behind that door is a fullness of purpose that your life has been building toward through every season you have endured. There is a calling that is broader and deeper and more impactful than what you have been walking in up to this point. There are people whose lives are connected to yours in ways that have not yet been revealed. People who are waiting for what only your story, your testimony, and your specific journey can bring to them. There are assignments that require the exact version of you that has been formed through every trial, every delay, every season of waiting and refining that you have walked through. Behind that door is the life that was written for you before the foundation of the world. The one that God saw when He formed you and knew exactly what you would face, exactly what it would cost you, and exactly what it would produce in you. The one that makes every hard season make sense in retrospect. The one that causes every tear to find its meaning and every moment of exhausted faith to find its reward. That life is on the other side of this door, and the door is now open. Do not hesitate at the threshold. There is a danger that chosen one must be warned about at this critical moment. It is the danger of hesitating at the threshold of an open door, of standing at the entrance of the very breakthrough that was prayed and believed for, and allowing fear, unworthiness, or unbelief to create a paralysis that keeps you standing at the doorway rather than walking boldly through it. This danger is more common than most people realize. When a long season of closed doors has been a person's experience for an extended period of time, the heart can unconsciously develop an expectation of closure. It becomes so accustomed to things not opening, so familiar with the feeling of standing before something sealed, that, when the opening finally arrives, it does not quite know how to respond to it. It looks for the catch. It waits for the door to close again before it has fully stepped through. It holds back a portion of itself, even while stepping forward, just in case the breakthrough turns out not to be real. Chosen one, do not do this. Do not allow the memory of past closed doors to make you timid before this open one. The door that is now before you is not going to close again before you step through it. It was opened by God, and it will remain open for the time that He has designated for your passage through it. But you must walk through it. You must bring your whole self, your whole heart, your whole faith, your whole expectation to this threshold and step through it with the boldness that belongs to a chosen child of God. Fear says wait a little longer to make sure it is real. Faith says step through now because God said so. In this moment, chosen one, choose faith. The door is open. Walk through it. A word to those who have watched others walk through their doors. Perhaps one of the most painful parts of your waiting season has been watching other people walk through their open doors while yours remained closed. Watching others receive their breakthroughs, their answered prayers, their seasons of visible blessing, while you continued standing before a door that showed no sign of movement. And perhaps in those moments, in your most honest and private thoughts, you wrestled with questions that you were almost afraid to voice. Why them and not me? Did I do something wrong? Is there something disqualifying about my situation that I am not seeing? Chosen one, hear this truth and let it settle deeply into your heart. The timing of another person's door opening has absolutely nothing to do with your worthiness, your faith, or the certainty of your own breakthrough. God does not operate on a competitive system where one person's blessing delays another person's. His resources are infinite and his timing is individual. He opens each door at the precise moment that the person standing before it is fully prepared to walk through it and fully equipped to carry what is waiting on the other side. The doors you watched others walk through were opened at the right time for them, and your door is being opened at the right time for you. The fact that their timing came first does not mean your timing is less certain or less significant. It simply means that the preparation your specific purpose required took the specific amount of time it needed to take. No more and no less. Your door was never competing with anyone else's. It was always on its own divine schedule, being worked on by the same faithful God who opened every door you watched others walk through. And now that schedule has arrived at its appointed moment. The final key has turned, and this door is yours. Stepping into the open door as you step through this open door. Chosen one. Carry these truths with you into the new season that is beginning. Carry the truth that you did not arrive here by accident. Every step of your journey, including the painful ones, the confusing ones, and the ones that felt like setbacks, was purposeful and intentional. God was writing a story through your life that required every chapter, including the difficult ones, to produce the version of you that is now stepping through this door. Carry the truth that you are fully qualified for what is waiting on the other side. Not because you are perfect, not because you made all the right decisions or maintained a flawless faith throughout the journey, but because God qualifies the called, because he does not place his children before open doors and then abandon them on the other side, because the same grace that carried you through the closed door seasons will carry you through the open door seasons and beyond. Carry the truth that this open door is not the end of your journey with God. It is the beginning of a new and deeper chapter of it. The intimacy you developed with him through the waiting seasons is not meant to be left behind now that the breakthrough has arrived. It is meant to deepen further as you walk forward into all that he has prepared. The relationship was always the point. The miracle was always meant to flow through the relationship rather than replace it. And carry the truth that your story is not only for you, the testimony of what God did in your life through the closed door seasons, and what he is doing now through this open door season, is going to reach people who need to hear it. People who are still standing before their own closed doors, wondering if the final key will ever turn. Your story is going to be the evidence they need to keep holding on. Heaven is celebrating this moment, chosen one. There is something happening in heaven right now that your natural eyes cannot see, but your spirit can sense, if you quiet yourself enough to receive it. Heaven is celebrating this moment. The angels who have been assigned to your life and have walked with you through every difficult season of your journey are witnessing the fulfillment of what they were sent to guard and protect. The prayers that went up from your lips through tears in the midnight hours are being answered in ways that will exceed what you asked for, because God always gives more than we can imagine when the fullness of his timing arrives. The waiting is over. The preparation is complete. The final key has turned, and the door that was waiting to open over your life is now open wide before you. Step through it, chosen one. Everything that was promised is waiting on the other side. Type Amen if you receive this declaration over your life today, and share this message with someone who is still standing before a closed door and needs to know that the final key is closer to turning than they realize.